Welcome to the Isuzu UTE A-League highlights show. We start with a rescheduled midweek clash between Sydney FC and last season's premiers Auckland FC at Leichhardt Oval. Victory would see the Sky Blues leapfrog Auckland FC into second place, whilst a win for the Black Knights would close the gap on Newcastle at the top to just 2 points. Sydney boss Ufuk Talay made 3 changes to his 11 that lost to Adelaide, bringing in Alexander Popovic and giving first starts to new arrivals Ahmed Arslan and Apostolos Stamatolopoulos, while Steve Corica stuck with the same side that beat their opponent Sydney FC in their last match just 10 days prior.
Now Thiago Quintal. And he's going to fire and parried away. Michael Vout with a confidence-lifting save. Gallegos, long ball. It's going to bounce awkwardly, and Devon Ishmaels has been logged, but there's not enough power on it from Jesse Randall to really punish him. It was unfolding in slow motion, but as far as Auckland were concerned, too slow. So let-offs at either end. Here's Stamatolopoulos, building ahead of steam, and it falls for Campazano! A series of deflections taken out for a corner. How about a set piece then for Sydney FC? Beyond the far post it goes, and saved away by Vout at point-blank range. And again it is Campazano who is denied. Here's to Randall, the half-time whistle still not coming to Sydney's aid. Dan Hall, a slaloming run! And what a moment to end the first half, Dan Hall. Ryan Grant has retrieved it on the opposite side. Kispe, able to open some space here. Kispe drops it in, and the goal arrives for Sydney FC. Alexander Popovic, the unlikely hero. It could be a season shaper. Girdwood Reich, up the middle he goes. Pinnaker, and in, a cruel deflection. Auckland get their equaliser at the death. Logan Rogerson made it happen. Makeshift centre forward Nando Pinnaker was all important. Relief for Steve Corica. Heartbreak for Sydney FC. What a night. Auckland able to salvage a point. And Alex Grant, the ball booted into him by his teammate. Not much he could have done. It'll be his name on the score sheet. And football is cruel for Sydney FC tonight. A night that ends Sydney FC 1, Auckland FC 1.
Moving on to round 18, and we start at Amy Park for the 52nd Melbourne Derby and Grand Final rematch. Before kick-off, Melbourne City fans paid tribute to former head coach Rado Vidosic in what was their first home game since his passing. Both sides were looking to find some form, with City coming into the match with just 1 win in their last 5 games, whilst Victory had 1 from their last 3. City boss Aurelio Vidmar made 4 changes from his starting lineup that played in the Asian Champions League Elite in midweek, bringing in Harrison Delbridge, Nathaniel Atkinson, Daniel Alzani and Marcus Younis, whilst Arthur Dilly stuck with the same 11 for Victory that drew against Brisbane a week earlier.
Possession, Melbourne Victory. Certainly they've been on top early. Oh, it's Mata! That is outstanding! Outrageous from the Spaniard! Well, a derby goal of the highest order. City, what a free kick on Herman Ferreira. But that would be to deny us a moment of absolute magic from the Spanish magician. Delbridge. Hasn't been the happy return he was hoping for. Here's Younis, first real chance to run at Miranda. Younis gets the cross in. Caputo, well, he only needs 1 chance. Max Caputo with a brilliant header, his second in a Melbourne derby after earlier this season. And out of nothing, well, if you get the ball to Marcus Younis, things can happen. Great strength. Ball over the top, Younis. He's got Mehmeti at the back post. Younis looking, Mehmeti! Oh, he should have scored. City should be in front. Massive miss.
Get some skin off Big Harrison.
Well, Matt Grimaldi's skin Big Harrison there, he's received a lovely pass from him, and now Mata! Well, once wasn't enough. Juan Mata at the double. Magic, you most certainly are. The little Spaniard has fired Melbourne victory in front. Suprayon, a little touch, it's very tight there. Juan Mata leads the break of 4 Melbourne victory players. Here goes Santos, he's quick, Burgos in the middle. Santos, oh, brilliant! And that is it. The Brazilian Santos curling the ball inside the far post to settle this one once and forever. City have been unpicked. Mata again at the heart of everything for Melbourne victory. A Melbourne derby with more than a hint of El Clasico this evening. The Spanish maestro, Juan Mata, gracing the A-League, gracing Amy Park, and gracing the Melbourne Derby with all his class. Arthur Dillis is all smiles, and well, he might be. Disappointment for the champions, who really just look a pale shadow of last season's side that went all the way. Melbourne victory, victorious in the 51st Melbourne Derby over Melbourne City by 3-1.
The 6th edition of the New Zealand Derby took place at Sky Stadium as Wellington Phoenix hosted rivals Auckland FC. The Black Knights had won all 5 previous clashes between the sides and were looking to close the gap at the top of the table with the Newcastle Jets, whilst the Knicks were hoping to avoid dropping further down the ladder after winning just 1 of their last 6 matches. Head coach Giancarlo Italiano made 4 changes to his side that drew against the Wanderers, bringing in Josh Oluwayemi, Paolo Retre, Rami Nazarin and Mandrakar James, whilst Auckland boss Steve Corica also made 4 changes to the side that drew midweek with Sydney FC, giving starts to Guillermo Maia, Cam Howison, Callan Elias and Logan Rogerson.
It's long by Gernwood White, and goodness me, what an absolute catastrophe for Josh Oluwayemi and Jake Gernwood Reich in the most extraordinary of circumstances. Has scored his first A-League goal for Auckland FC. Absolutely incredible. Here's Randall again along the carpet and into the back of the net. Jesse Randall, who played so much of his early football here in the capital, strikes from a long way out, and on the half-hour mark, Auckland FC have breathing room. They are 2-0 ahead of the derby. Rogerson trying to get involved. Gyagos, he pulls it back. Auckland FC in complete cruise control of a derby again. Auckland FC are 3-0 ahead. Mai plays it forward for Randall. There will be another opportunity. Jesse Randall bearing down on goal. Absolutely magnificent from Jesse Randall. My goodness, the boy's a star. A brace today for Randall. 4 for Auckland. Delirium in the travelling port.
The hometown boy comes back to haunt Wellington.
Randall. Here's Lockie Brook. Mai ahead of him. Lockie Brook onto his right foot. Lachlan Brook cooling his heels on the bench. On he comes in an instant impact in front of the port. The smile is as wide as the Auckland Harbour Bridge from Lachlan Brook. 7 this season for him and 5 today for Auckland FC. Can you even call it a rivalry? Auckland FC's dominance on Derby Day will stretch into a third season. Utter destruction of Wellington Phoenix today. 6 in a row. The Knicks laid low. There's your final score. Wellington Phoenix 0, Auckland FC 5.
Perth Glory made the trip to Cooper Stadium in round 18 of the Isuzu A-League to take on Adelaide United. The Reds came into the match in 4th place and were looking to close the gap at the top of the table, whilst Glory were hoping to turn their form around, which has seen them win just 1 of their last 7 matches. Adelaide boss Ayrton Andrioli made 1 change to his starting 11, bringing Panagiotis Kikianis in for Sotirios Phillis. Meanwhile, Adam Griffiths made 2 changes to his side that lost to Newcastle Jets, giving starts to Trent Osler and Adriano Labib.
It's Juan Mata, and it's in! The Spaniard strikes! And from his first touch of the ball, he's looked on tonight! Just a second Adelaide goal for Juan Mata. Wooden went on a dash and then ran out of ideas, and now Jovanovic, denied by Sutton, and the follow-up is blazed in! Johnny Yeo! And he shushes the travelling Perth fans, but the rest of the stadium loves it. Adelaide United into a 2-0 lead, and Johnny Yeo, pulling the strings, gets his name on the score sheet.
Well, there's the second one.
Took the game on, but just lost possession, and as it ran away from him, Adelaide have seized upon it to launch a counter. Dukuli. Underlapping run from White, and Jovanovic! Unmarked in the middle! And the simplest of finishes makes it 3. And the halftime team talk goes out the window for the Glory as Adelaide United continue where they left off. Madana has been ticking to 6 additional minutes to end the night at Cooper Stadium. It's a weaving run, and a 4th goal for Adelaide! Luke Duzel! What a statement from the Reds! And Luke Duzel lashing it in and got a touch from the keeper along the way, but powerless to keep it out. If there is a team to chase down the Newcastle Jets, Adelaide say, why not us? As they put 4 goals past Perth Glory, and they do so off the back of a superb display from Johnny Yeo. Luke Duzel put the full stop on it, and Juan Mata had arguably, if not definitively, his best performance in an Adelaide United shirt. The burning questions will continue for Perth Glory. The full-time score, Adelaide United 4, Perth Glory 0.
Brisbane Roar travelled south to Allianz Stadium where they met Sydney FC. The Sky Blues came into the match with just 1 win in their previous 6 games, whilst the Roar were also struggling for form, winning just 1 of their last 8. After their midweek draw with Auckland, Ufuk Talay brought in Piero Quispe for Victor Campuzano, whilst Michael Valkanis made 2 changes to the Roar side that drew with Melbourne victory, giving starts to Noah Maironi and Georgios Frakas.
Quad injury keeping Tisserand sidelined at the moment. Here comes Joe Lolly. He doesn't cut on the left. He lays it off for Stamatolopoulos, and it's a really good save down to his left from Dean Bazanis as Stamatolopoulos looks for his first goal in Sky Blue.
Clever from Joe Lolly. Hits it first time, and I really like that from Stamatolopoulos.
Here's Sam Klein. 4-on-4 here. Klein from long range. Maybe not the right option. Sails over the bar again, and there's some frustrated Brisbane players in that final third. Ocon Engsler, another one. Hoping to be in green and gold in June. Now cutting back onto the left foot. It's a decent strike from Tiago Quintal. He is getting it done for Sydney FC. The 19-year-old with a wonderful goal, proving his worth in Sky Blue finally have a lead. The 3 points is up for grabs. Devonish Mears is almost beaten. He waited and then tapped it over the bar.
That's cheeky from Noah Maironi.
Tiago Quintal's goal sees Alex Popovic celebrate with the crowd at Allianz Stadium. Ufuk Talay is a relieved man. And they do maintain third spot on the Isuzu UTE A-League men's ladder with Tiago Quintal's goal, making it at full time at Allianz Stadium. Sydney FC 1, Brisbane Roar 0.
The Western Sydney Wanderers made the trip up the freeway to Polytech Stadium to face the Central Coast Mariners. Whilst both sides were sitting at the bottom of the ladder, the Mariners were on a 4-game undefeated run, whilst the Wanderers had just the one loss in their 4 matches under new coach Gary Van Egmond. Mariners boss Warren Moon made one change to his 11 that beat Brisbane last time out, giving a first start to new signing Kato Taniguchi, whilst Gary Van Egmond also made one change to his Wanderers squad that drew against the Phoenix, bringing Brandon Borello in for Božidar Krajev.
As the Wanderers can break with Fraser again. So much traffic down that left-hand side. Here's Thurgate. Had a little bit of space, but he was quickly shut down by Donnell. On it goes. Fraser, and then knocks it back to Thurgate, who slides it past Andrew Redmayne. Redmayne will appeal that Costa Barbarouses was offside and spoiling his view. It stands at the moment, and it was Ryan Fraser taking it to the byline, cutting it back, and Thurgate doing the rest, 1-0. Came through the Mariners Academy, of course. Only 7 minutes recently for Portsmouth. Here's Fraser again. Across the face of goal. Brandon Borello from close range slams it into the crossbar. It's still rattling at the southern end. So it'll be the in-swinger from Ryan Fraser. And there's plenty of swing on it as well. Redmayne knows nothing about it. It's off the crossbar at the second attempt from Phil Kankar, and then flying in Pantazopoulos. Redmayne gets up big again. He didn't know much about the first one. The second one is world class. It stays 1-0, but the Wanderers have another corner. Still the Mariners, Taniguchi. He'll shoot from long range. Blocked by Pantazopoulos, falls for Rue again. Now it's the Central Coast asking questions. Agler chips one over, and Ali Agler, for the second time in 3 games, has scored an outstanding goal from a very similar position. Lawrence Thomas filthy, Agler and the Mariners in raptures. So they're happy for play to continue, and they could break here. Fraser has Donachie in front of him. Rue gets back in support. Oh, wonderful through ball for Božidar Krajev, and then Iwasuki to finish it off. Well, that goes down to Ryan Fraser. That is a beautiful ball across the face. Božidar Krajev sees Iwasuki bombing forward, and a brilliantly worked Western Sydney Wanderers goal.
There is space in behind. You can see how high the Wanderers are playing.
Naeem switches up for Moragas. It's a great touch, and it's a great ball across for Nathaniel Blair to score his first A-League goal and to get the Mariners back all square once again. The switch of play for Haynes, the touch from Lucas Moragas, and the finish from Nathaniel Blair. Pantazopoulos' header is laid off for Donachie. Now Brantman from long range, off the post, and Donachie with the rebound and in! The Central Coast Mariners have come from behind twice, and now they take the lead with a minute plus stoppages, and James Donachie, the unlikely hero, just his 6th goal in 205 A-League appearances. Warren Moon and his coaching staff celebrate. The goal scorer, James Donachie, celebrates with his teammates after scoring at the dying embers of this game. After the Central Coast Mariners twice found themselves behind, this man, Nathaniel Blair, put them ahead for the second time. And the Mariners bench can celebrate 5 games without loss for Warren Moon's side at full time at Polytech Stadium. It is the Central Coast Mariners 3, the Western Sydney Wanderers 2.
Round 18 came to a close when the Macarthur Bulls made the trip to McDonald Jones Stadium to take on the high-flying Newcastle Jets. Mark Milligan's Newcastle side were looking to extend their club record and make it 8 consecutive wins in the league, whilst the Bulls were looking to bounce back after being knocked out of the Asian Champions League 2 in midweek. Mark Milligan stuck with the same lineup for the Jets for the 6th match in a row, whilst Mile Stajovski made wholesale changes to his Bulls side from midweek, bringing in 6 new faces.
Natta with Clayton Taylor. Jets into the area. Oh, a little chip as well from Wilmering. Dobson, double team somehow, comes away with the ball again. Dobson accelerates now into the area. Dobson lets fly. It's a really good save from Alex Robinson, but great football from the teenager.
Maybe that was squarer.
Here's Clayton Taylor, still got it. Desperate defending, breaks for Bayliss. Bayliss again! He's done it! Lockie Bayliss. 5 goals in 5 for the Jets, number 8. Newcastle have liftoff. It's taken 54 minutes. Economides again. Back for Walter Scott. That's well played. Cross back post. Sawyer is there. The header. Mitch Duke. Oh! How did that not go in? Duke. Near post. Oh, that was nearly a great finish. 8 wins out of 8 for the Newcastle Jets. 36 points. Better than they've done in the last 7 seasons of A-League football. And they still have 8 matches left to go. They are 4 points clear at the top of the standings. Just a second defeat of 2026 for Macarthur. All finished at McDonald Jones Stadium. Courtesy of Lockie Bayliss, the Jets 1, the Bulls 0.
It was an eventful round 18 which saw Wellington Phoenix coach Giancarlo Italiano resign after his side's heavy loss in the New Zealand Derby, a Juan Mata masterclass in the Melbourne Derby, and the box office Jets extend their lead at the top of the table. The gap has been closed ever so slightly on them by Auckland FC and Sydney FC, with Adelaide United, Melbourne Victory and Macarthur FC making up the remainder of the top 6. The Central Coast Mariners win sees them jump from 11th to 7th, whilst the rest of the bottom of the ladder remains heavily congested, with all teams still battling for finals places. Join us next week for another excitement-filled round of A-League action, headlined by the original rivalry between Melbourne Victory and Adelaide United. We'll see you then.